You're the one everyone leans on, but when you need support, you're left holding your own weight. Here's how to become the CEO of your life and build a personal board of directors. Even if you're the strong one, then no one ever checks in on. I'm Corey Logaitis, professional keynote speaker, coach, and creator of the Overwhelm Culprit framework. I help high performing women and allies identify exactly why they feel stuck, stressed, or unsupported. And community is one of the biggest culprits, or I should say, a lack thereof. In fact, one of the very first exercises I walk my workshop and keynote audiences through is this: make a list of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Just like the famous Jim Rohn quote, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So you're going to make a list of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And then ask yourself for each one of them, how are they helping you? Or how might they be preventing or hindering you? This simple exercise is a wake-up call for so many of us, especially if we built a life where we're the support system for everybody else. That's where your personal board of directors comes in. Here's what a well-rounded support system might look like for you. And yes, one person can play multiple roles, but ultimately, you're going to want to look to have each one of these covered in some way, shape, or form. First up is the cheerleader, the person who believes in you no matter what. This person, it could be a partner, it could be your bestie from kindergarten, it could even be your kids. Anyone whose love feels unconditional and energizing. These folks are your cheerleaders, and we can't accomplish big things without having cheerleaders in our corner. The next one up is the mentor. The mentor is someone who is multiple steps ahead of you in achieving something it is that you're working towards. They've done what it is that you're working toward, and they can help you sidestep unnecessary mistakes. Mentors could come in multiple different forms. They could be either a paid mentorship. I did one very recently where I paid to work with an author mentor because I was working on my very first book and trying to get a literary agent. And working with that mentor actually helped me break into the publishing industry. But there are lots of mentors, especially within organizations, if you're in corporate, where you could find mentors for free. They're not folks who are higher up on the chain than you. So the most important part is that you find somebody that's a few steps ahead of you in whatever it is that you're looking to do. Next up is the coach. The coach keeps you accountable without shame or judgment. They're not here to cheer you on blindly, but to reflect your goals back to you and challenge you to keep you going. The coach keeps you accountable. You can have coaches in your life that are paid engagements. I do coaching with a lot of clients myself. Or a coach can be somebody that's just a friend, a family member, a colleague who ultimately keeps you accountable. So a great example of this would be if you decide that you're working on your health and fitness and you have that one friend that always goes to the gym, that you decide, you know what, we're going to go to the gym together at the same time every day. So I have somebody to hold me accountable to showing up for myself. That person, even though they're not a health coach specifically, but they're helping coach you towards your goal of staying accountable to yourself. So you want somebody that's going to help fill in that role for you, whether it's a paid engagement or it's somebody who can help set in and achieve the same thing. Next is the peers. These are the folks that are in the trenches with you every single day. So it could be if you're an entrepreneur, fellow business owners. If you are a working parent, it could be joining your family and caretakers ERG. Caretakers, folks who are in the sandwich generation that are doing kids and elderly parents, you get it. People who get it because they're doing the exact same thing. So for me, many years ago, at one point in time, the group of peers that I had was a group of single working moms when I was going through my own divorce and also working. So you got to figure out who is it with what it is that you are going through currently at the moment. Who else is in those trenches with you, and how can you get in touch with them to go through it together? Next up is the therapist. Now, I'm not always saying this is a licensed professional, though I highly recommend it, and it is great as well, especially if you're dealing with any kind of unresolved trauma. But this is the person that you could emotionally unpack with. No judgment, just the space to feel free and to be able to process. So as I mentioned before, you might find several of these roles in one person. So for me, I'd say my therapist, my cheerleader, and my coach would be my husband. He keeps me accountable. He's always cheering me on, and he's always there to hear from me if I'm having a rough day. More times than not, you're going to have to seek out additional support for areas that they can't fully hold. Or sometimes, even just as an example, you might be going through something emotionally that's very difficult at that time, and it is not fair to that other person to have them be solely the one that's handling that. So it may actually make sense to get a licensed therapist to help with it so as not to overburden your partner or your friend or whoever it is that's filling that role for you. So a lot of times it can be one person, but sometimes you got to give them a break and find other people to help fulfill that role for you as well. So there you go. This is how you curate your team because you are the CEO of your life. And remember, no CEO ever does it alone. So I'd love to know which one of these is going to be the very first person that you add to your board. Go ahead, drop it in the comments. Send me a DM. I am most active on LinkedIn. I would love to hear how you're applying this and building your own personal board of directors. So if this topic hit a nerve, it might be time to identify your overwhelm culprits. I have a sneaking suspicion that if this specifically resonated for you, that your overwhelm culprit is probably lack of community. So go ahead, take my free quiz to discover what's keeping you stuck, whether that's lack of clarity, confidence, community, conditioning, or consistency. You can take the quiz now at www.coreylowe.com/overwhelm culprit, and we will make sure that we link to it in the show notes. And remember, the strongest leaders know how to build strong teams. Let's start with yours. Thanks so much for being here. I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. I'll see you next time.
Thanks for checking out The Next Step with Corey Lowe. If this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend, subscribe, and leave a review. Together, we'll transform overwhelm into action, and we'll keep taking the next step towards confident leadership. See you next time.